Does any part of you want to make Scotland favourites?
On form, yes. Um, it's interesting to look at both teams' pathway through the championship. Both teams had a horror show at the start. We lost to France. They lost in Rome. We both redeemed ourselves against England. You think about it.
Hmm.
We both struggled to beat Wales, but that evens everything up. But the only difference is they put France to the sword last weekend. We were struggling to beat Wales. So on form, you have to think Scotland have the edge here. And you have to think if this is it for Scotland in terms of making a statement against Ireland. You know, it's been so hard. They found it almost impossible to beat Ireland over the last 20 odd years, just like it's around hen's teeth. And this is their chance to come to Dublin and do it, like of all things. So from that perspective, you have to make them favourites. But I just think Ireland at home for a Triple Crown against Scotland, there's a huge mental barrier for Scotland here to break. We just have it over them. And I still think this Irish team, if all the parts fit together on the day and we play, we're a better team at home than Scotland are away. If this was all in Murrayfield next week, I think it's a different conversation, to be fair. But I think we're not favourites on paper, but we're favourites on tradition. And that tradition is hold on this one. But I do think we've got to get a lot of things right. I mean, if Scotland get to play like they played last weekend, we're going to struggle. There's no question. Yeah. But I think this is Scotland's chance to make a statement victory over Ireland. And for that reason, I think we are vulnerable. But I'm not sure we'll get it done. But I'd be surprised if we don't win at home on this one. And we will be up for it. There's no question. This is bigger than the Triple Crown even. It's a statement. Like if we were to lose next Saturday, the Six Nations becomes a bad deal. It won't be a good feeling walking away. If we win, everything looks different. We're probably in second place in the championship. Everything tastes sweeter on Monday morning after this one if we win.
Will it be the Twickenham team?
By and large, I would suspect. I mean, I don't have any information on it just yet. I would imagine the question is whether they keep Stockdale on the left wing or bring Tommy O'Brien back in. And while Stockdale did well and is more of a natural fit on the left wing, I love that the pace of O'Brien and Balakoon, I think, gives Ireland, it would have given them more of an outlet. I'd like to see them start cross-kicking a little bit more to get those two players into the game. That's another way you change up the picture and get outside the Welsh rush. I think you plug Dan Sheehan and Joe McCarthy into that game plan on Saturday or for Friday night, and you're going to win some more of those collisions. I think if you playing that game plan with a second row of Byrne and Ryan, as great as both of those players are, you probably want, you know, an Izuchukwu or a Joe McCarthy who win a bit more of those collisions. So that'll strengthen them no end. The question is, like, I thought Jack Conan was deservedly man in a match and was one of Ireland's best players. He largely played at 8 when they scrummed down. Do they find a way of keeping him in the team by moving Doris to 7 and go with Byrne, Conan and Doris in that combination, or did they put him back on the bench so you get that last 20-25 minutes out of him? So there's a couple of little things that he's going to work on. Do you stick with Kelleher from the start and use Sheehan as a bench option and look to finish power over the Scots? That's another option they have, because I thought Kelleher was very good and Sheehan hasn't been at his best this tournament. He was good at Twickenham, but he's been good off the bench before. But by and large, I think he's going to, you know, last week was strategic as well. It was long term. This is not the time to start losing to Scotland. The entire World Cup campaign depends on beating them in a pool game in, I think it's in Melbourne. It's in Perth in a year and a half's time. You know, you want to be going into that having beaten them 13 times in a row, having kept your foot in their throat.
The longer a streak goes on, the closer.
It's going to happen sometimes, but this is not. And they will grow if they can go and beat Ireland away from home and claim a Triple Crown. That is just such a statement for them, such a massive signpost of where they're going as a team. They have all the momentum going on, whereas you have a chance here to knock the stuffing out of them. Their away form's poor. You know, they lost in Rome, nearly lost in Cardiff. Dublin's not. I think 2010 is the last time they enjoyed a win in Dublin, that Dan Parks game. So there's bigger stakes than just the Triple Crown and even the Championship. This is a very important game for both of these teams, and Farrell will I'm sure he would love to have Porter and Ryan Baird and a few others available, but he has to go with the best of what he's got. I don't think Lockman will be back, actually. I think Tom O'Toole will stay there. I think he deserves to stay there. I thought he was excellent at the weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be, I'd say it's going to be as strong as he can go because he knows what the stakes are.
Yeah.
One of the vulnerabilities for us next weekend is the scrum is still not ironed out yet.
Yeah.
That's a worry. Scotland have a good scrum. Then they will go after us there big time. So that's interesting to watch that. And if that was to go south on Saturday, that could be the Achilles heel that costs us the game.
Yeah, Ireland's sort of going into every game at the moment, Eddie, going, oh, and by the way, if our scrum capitulates, we're in trouble. It's a possibility. I mean, it's a mad thing to be saying as a caveat into every game.
Goal kicking is the other thing.
Because it's been pretty good for us, over the years. And we all thought if Furlong gets back, it'll be fine again. That was the big worry, not having Furlong, but hasn't panned out that way.
It wasn't terrible on Friday night. It had its moments. They won 2 penalties. Tom O'Toole won 2, and when Nicky Smith came on, he seems to be just Tyke Furlong's kryptonite. He caused awful problems for him over in Welford Road. He got really on top of Tom Clarkson last year when he made his first Six Nations start. I think they can handle the Scottish scrum. Famous last words. It could be the 50th prediction I've made this season that goes south. But I'm not as fearful of that. Where I'm fearful is that the inability to turn 5 into 7 and the leaving points behind on the table is going to catch Ireland in a big game sometime. And this could be the game. I expect this to be a tit for tat tight game, and you got to be if you get on top of Scotland, you got to be scoring 7s. You can't be leaving conversions out there. It's going to be hard for Crowley to fix that from one week to another. But whether it's Crowley, Prendergast, even Harry Burns kicking hasn't been that good. The best Irish goal kicker in Ireland this year is Nathan Doak, but he might be on the bench, but he's not going to be starting the game, and you're not going to be dropped Gibson Park to get a goal kicker on. But they've got to start getting up into the 80s with those kicks, because it will eventually cost Ireland, whether it's now, whether it's at the Nations Championship, whether it's next year, or whether, God forbid, at the World Cup. This lack of ruthlessness with goal kicking is really it's a real worry, because there's no Mornay Stein or Handré Pollard waiting in the wings to come in and save Ireland at the World Cup. It's going to have to come from these players.
I think another area that's going to be really what concern me on the weekend is if we let Scotland with time and space and Russell to play his game, we could be in a lot of trouble. So how do we take that time and space from Russell? If we play drift defence, if we don't get off the line, if we give them that extra yard to make decisions, I would think they'll have to sit down this week and think, do we pivot defensively like Wales pivoted against us and went up and in and caught us on the day cold? It's something you do every now and again. I've done it numerous times where you change. Teams come and expect you to do one thing, you do something else defensively. It really throws them off their kilter because they've set up to attack a certain way and suddenly they're less time and space. They may have to consider that, considering where Scotland are in terms of their attack and Russell is in terms of where he is in his groove. They need to take Russell out of his groove. And one of the best ways that is not giving time and space, but there's trade-offs on that as well. So I'd be very interested to see how we defend, whether we can shut Scotland down effectively, because if they get time and space, they will cause us problems.
Yeah, well, look, it's so tasty. 2:10 in Dublin.